today we're traveling about 200 miles north, approximately following the NC 500 route. From Applecross we take the Bialach na Baa cattle pass over to Loch Carron. From Loch Carron we drive across country over to Ullapool. From Ullapool we drive up the North Coast 500 route to Durness, and then drive around Loch Ribble over to the Kyle of Tong, and then finally to Betty Hill, where we'll stay tonight. Well, a pretty early start for us today. It was really windy last night, and the iCapper tent really was trying to fold up on us, so we didn't get much sleep. We had to abandon the tent again. So we did set off as early as we could this morning, hoping to get a coffee down here on Shore Street in the Applecross village. To no avail, the coffee place wasn't open. And we also tried to fill up on our diesel at the 24-hour diesel station here, but I guess it's 24 hours of not accepting any of the credit cards we have. So we're about an eighth of a tank. Oh yeah, look at this on the left. It's a pretty magnificent looking stag. We passed this guy earlier on. Wow.
Take a sharp left
That's
turn.
cool. So yeah, we don't have diesel. Well, we have about an eighth of a tank of diesel, so we're going to head over to Loch Carron, which is over the Bialach na Baa, which is the cattle pass. I think we have enough diesel to get there.
Miles. Turn right onto 8896.
And here's the stag again on the left. It's coming up. There he is. So yeah, we're heading for the Bialach na Baa, the cattle pass. And that pass is actually the steepest ascent anywhere in the UK. And I think it's the third highest mountain road anywhere in the UK. So it should be pretty interesting. And it is a little cloudy, as you can see today, from this elevation, so let's see how that unfolds as we climb up higher into the mountains here to cross over the cattle pass. Okay, so we're entering the pass proper now. This is closed in the wintertime normally. It's not winter yet, it's October as we're recording this. And it is a single track road, of course. And as we did kind of expect, it is getting foggy up here. It is steep too. We've had to actually go down into first gear once or twice. And the thing with the fog is you can't tell how steep it is. You can't tell how steep the road is, and you can't tell how steep the drop off is at the side. And I think this is probably pretty spectacular during the summer, when visibility is good. No vehicles up here though, very few vehicles, so haven't had to deal with that too much. And I don't think we're very far from the peak now. But from what I understand, the way down on the other side is more sort of twisty, more like an alpine kind of a road. And here we are now with the parking area. So this must be the summit of the pass. And quite spectacular, I would imagine, during summer months when there's actually some visibility. Not today though, so we're not going to stop. And there is something coming the other way, so okay, it's flashing us on, great. Now it looks like there's a drop off to the left and some water down there, so we're assuming there's a passing spot here.
Sort of.
Okay, there is, kinda. It's more like a passing precipitous ledge. But I think we can get through. Alright. And the fog's really coming in now. It's definitely... Oh look, there's a locken on the left. A locken is a small lock, I believe. That's the right term for that. And it looks very much as though we do a sharp turn to the left here. So this one's not quite 180.
You're doing amazing now.
In 5.5 miles, turn right onto 8896.
Yes, thank you, Apple Maps. We'll be sure to make that turn. So there's probably a breathtaking view over to the right during the summer months. Okay, here we go, there's another switchback. Wow, this one is pretty much 180 degrees. Not too bad. I'm glad we didn't meet anyone coming the other way. Ah, speaking of which, okay. I think we're both as confused as each other at this point. I think he's actually backing up, so we'll take the initiative and go forward. I actually think he may have been better moving forward, possibly. But since I'm such an expert with this vehicle, having driven it for so long and being able to expertly judge the width, I'm sure this won't be a problem. Yeah, I think we'll have at least half an inch on the right. And half an inch on the left. Alright, no problem. Now, if I don't miss my guess, I think this is a left switchback. It is. It's actually, I guess it couldn't be more than 180, otherwise it would go under itself, but certainly really close to 180 degrees here, and I think this is the tightest one. The barrier is very close to me. Alright. No problem. Now there's a car behind us, so we'll let him pass and then make the rest of the trip down to Loch Carron. So we're pretty happy to find diesel at Loch Carron. Although at £1.36 per litre, almost $7 per gallon, it's a little pricey. Okay, full of caffeine, full of fuel tank, and empty of wallet. We hit the road again. We're actually headed up to Ullapool, mostly on the NC500 route, heading up to Durness and the north coast. We haven't actually figured out where we're staying tonight, but we're going to head in that general direction. And a lot of this route, actually, between Loch Carron and Ullapool, featured on a previous video, and that was episode 11 of this series, Hogabust to Ullapool via Skye. So we're going to skip most of that route and pick this up right after Ullapool. And after a delicious lunch at the Cayley Place here in Ullapool, Cayley Place is a cafe, bookstore and bunkhouse. Very interesting. So we had a great lunch. We're on the road again now. Unfortunately, we did have to deal with a bit of an issue with the vehicle. And coming up today from Applecross to Ullapool, we noticed that when we put the vehicle into top gear, which is 6th gear on this vehicle, there's a pretty noticeable noise coming from the gearbox, presumably, and sort of a metallic grinding, crunching noise. So the vehicle seemed to move okay, but the noise was such that, you know, we basically wanted to check it out. So we called Duncan at Scotland Overland and talked to him over lunch. And, you know, we've decided that since the vehicle does not make this noise in gears 1 to 5, and since it would be hard to get a replacement to us expeditiously, given that we only have a couple of days left, we're just going to hit the road as it is and just avoid 6th gear, basically. So there are a couple of implications with that. And the first of which is that, well, obviously we're not going into 6th gear. That's going to impede our maximum speed. That shouldn't be too much of an issue today on these roads, but it may become an issue later on if we're traveling on roads with a higher speed. And also, it's going to impact our gas mileage or our diesel mileage. You know, we're going to be revving the engine a little higher. So, but we've decided to proceed, and we'll just avoid 6th gear for now. So we're going to hit the road, head up to Scotland's wild North Atlantic coast. We're not sure exactly where, but hopefully we'll get there safe and sound. And we're approaching the land bridge here over the Kyle of Tongue, and the town of Tongue is on the other side. And we're not too far now from our final destination today, which is Betty Hill. And Betty Hill is not a person, it's actually the name of a town. So we're booked into the Betty Hill Hotel tonight, and we are very much looking forward to getting a proper night's sleep in a real bed, especially after last night's abortive attempt to sleep in the tent. And I don't know if it's going to come through really on the video, but the lighting conditions here are pretty unusual. Sort of a low, dark cloud layer, but it's sort of clear beneath that. So I don't know if there's a big storm coming, or if this is sort of typical weather for the area, or what. It's pretty unusual. And if I'm not mistaken, there is a Land Rover over there on the right. So we have to say hi. Okay. I'm sure they appreciated that. So we've avoided 6th gear. The wheels haven't fallen off. So far, so good today.
Amazing.
And as the daylight fades here, arriving at the Betty Hill Hotel.
The destination is on your right. Betty Hill Hotel.
Yep, in the nick of time.
It's
Arrived.
lovely.
So we'll get parked and get our room, hopefully get a bite to eat. And a view over Torresdale Bay with that strange lighting that we talked about before. And an NC 500 route sign right in front of us.
Go check in.
Perfect.
I'll take a picture of that from across the street.
If you enjoyed the video, you can help us out by giving us a like. And if you want to see more of our videos, you can click the subscribe button. And don't forget to click the bell icon so that you're notified when we release a new video. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.